Will Tottenham Hotspur win the Premier League this season? Well, probably not, but what is stopping you from predicting that outcome? Do you think anybody would have guessed that Leicester were going to win the Premier League in 2016 at 5,000 to 1 odds? Would anybody have tipped Wigan Athletic to win the FA Cup in 2013 or Portsmouth in 2008? Could anybody have guessed that Arsenal were going to go the 2003-2004 season unbeaten to become invincibles? The beauty behind predicting things at the start of every season is that it can be as audacious and outrageous as you could possibly imagine. And who cares? It is your predictions. The new Premier League season is getting underway in just a couple of days now, and with Tottenham's away trip to Leicester kicking things off on Monday night for Ange Postecoglou's second season in charge, it is time for us to get our Tottenham predictions in for the 2024-25 campaign. Now, I could sit here and just give you my predictions and talk through it and do all of that sort of normal stuff, but I thought I'd draft in a little bit of help. So make sure you stick around in the video if you want to see my full predictions. Now, as I said, I've brought in some of Tottenham's best content creators to help give me their predictions, and I've asked them 4 questions. Number 1, where are Tottenham going to finish in the Premier League this season? 2, who is going to be Tottenham's player of the season? 3, who is going to be the breakout star for Spurs? 4, what is the trophy we have the highest chance of winning this season? So let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it. And first, I want you to hear from George Achillia, of course, one of Tottenham's longest serving and best content creators. Let's see what he has to say about Spurs' upcoming campaign.
Yes, Tottenham predictions for this season. First up, where we're going to finish in the league. Now, this one's a tough one. I really think we're going to kick on from last year. I think we're going to get in the Champions League spots, but I think we're going to come third behind City and Arsenal. I think those two, unfortunately, right now, they're just that step above everyone else. I think we're going to progress massively in our project. Until the window finishes, I can't be certain, because I think we're still missing a technical 1v1 winger, or maybe someone like Eze. He won't necessarily play in that position, but if Maddison gets injured, then, we need quality cover, and I don't know if we've got that yet. So, yeah, I'd say about third for this year. In terms of a player of the season, though, I am going to say Christian Romero. For me, I think because Van de Ven last year was new, I think everyone saw him as a shiny new toy. He obviously had an amazing debut season, but I think Romero really went under the radar for how important he was. He even got 5 goals as a centre-back. I think this is the season that we're finally going to see why he is one of the best centre-backs in the world, let alone the Premier League. So I think he'll be our star player this year. In terms of a breakout star, I think it has to be Lucas Bergwijn. I think throughout the whole of pre-season, he's looked phenomenal for such a young player. And I think there probably will be a time this season where Maddison might get injured or is unavailable for games. And he has shown to me that he can really step up in that sort of advanced 8/10 position. And I mean, he just looks so comfortable on the ball. I think him and Gray, obviously 2 young boys, have come straight into the first team squad, looked really at home. But I think Bergwijn in particular is going to be a phenomenal player. And then finally, what trophy do you think we're most likely to win? And for me, I actually think it's the Europa League for one reason and one reason only. Champions League teams now don't drop into the Europa League, which means technically the pool of teams is lower quality, so to speak. So the chances of winning it are a bit better. But to be honest with you, I think we really need to give Europe a good go. It's been a while since we've properly tried to compete in that competition. But I genuinely think, looking at the teams that are in the Europa League, we do have a really good chance of getting to the final and winning it. I'd say out of all the trophies, that's probably the one we've maybe got the best shout at.
So there you have it. George is predicting a very positive campaign for Tottenham, and he is saying that we are going to finish third behind only Manchester City and Arsenal. Very, very interesting take that he thinks that we're going to be in and above the likes of Villa, Newcastle, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, of course, under Arne Slot. But I share his optimism. For me personally, I think that we can improve on that 5th place finish that we had last season, and I do fully expect us to be definitely a contender to be in the top 4 this term, and it very much depends on how Liverpool get going with their season under Slot. Of course, we know that they've looked excellent in pre-season. We know what Arsenal and Manchester City are going to bring at this point, so very much depends on the teams around us. However, I would say that it is likely going to be just one of the most competitive seasons in the Premier League that we've seen in a long time. The recruitment from the likes of West Ham and Aston Villa and Newcastle and Manchester United, you could argue, have been really, really top level. So I do agree with George's predictions overall. I think Lucas Bergvall's going to have a great season, as is Christian Romero, and I hope the Europa League is the one that we win. But yeah, third place in the Premier League, I think I would be delighted with that. However, I'm going to drop just one below George, and I'm going to say we're going to come fourth this season. Now it is on to another widely loved Tottenham creator. Ben Bowman has kindly given us his predictions for the upcoming season, so let's see what he's got to say.
I've got some Tottenham predictions for you for the upcoming 24-25 season, starting off with where we're going to finish. I think we will be in the top four. I think we can push Liverpool for third, but I think they'll just pip us, and I think we'll get that fourth spot. I'm really excited to see what we're going to look like under Ange in his second season. I've seen some encouraging things in pre-season. Obviously, defensive issues to be sorted out, set pieces, etc. But we haven't played pre-season with our full defence yet. I think we're going to finish fourth. I think Newcastle will be our main competition. I think we've got a better squad, better youth coming through to handle that European football alongside the Premier League. I think we've got a better chance of doing it than Aston Villa, who are in the Champions League. Obviously, that's a massive step up. They won't be able to rotate as much. I'm not that convinced about Manchester United. I'm not convinced about Chelsea. So I think Newcastle will be our main competition because they've got no European football. But I do think we can push Liverpool for that third spot. They're a bit of an unknown entity at the moment. Obviously, haven't signed anyone under Arne Slot yet. They're looking for that number 6. Zubimendi has turned them down. If they can get a top couple of signings through the window, I think they'll probably comfortably do it just above us. But fourth in Ange Postecoglou's second season, Champions League football, I would take that all day, and I think we've got a very good chance. Tottenham's player of the season, then, for me, it's got to be Christian Romero. It was last year. He's our most important player, hands down. You saw the impact that he had when he came on against Bayern Munich. Everything just settles down in that defence. I think he's going to prove to everyone how world-class he is this year. He's constantly getting doubted, constantly being told that he's too rash, too reckless. People just don't watch him. Rival fans just don't really watch him. We see how important he is to us, and I think he's going to be our player of the season. Right, breakout star, I'm going to say Lucas Bergvall. I said that in my own predictions video, and I'm going to stand by it here. I think a lot of people will say Mikey Moore, and I totally get that. Obviously signed his new contract. Massive for him, massive for Spurs as well. But if you're talking about someone who is going to establish themselves as a starter come the end of the season, maybe even halfway through it, I think it's going to be Lucas Bergvall. So impressive throughout pre-season. I don't think anybody necessarily expected him to be this good, but he is impressed so much. Deceptively strong, combative, an all-round midfielder, brilliant presser, so elegant when he's on the ball at just 18 years old. And for me, he should start in that first game against Leicester on Monday. He's going to be my breakout star for the 24-25 season. And finally, which trophy do we have the best chance of winning? Look, it's probably the League Cup. It's maybe even the FA Cup, but I'm going to say the Europa League. In this kit, in Bilbao, in the kit launch, they said road to Bilbao for this away kit, and we're going to be wearing this, lifting it in Bilbao in May next year. I truly believe that. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Who knows? But it's good to believe, all right? I think we can do it. I think we've got a good chance of winning it. Obviously, no dropouts from the Champions League favours us this time. I think we'll get far in it, whatever happens, and I do think the Europa League is the one we've got the best chance of winning, and I'll see you, Mitch, in Bilbao.
So there we have it. Ben has given, I think it was identical predictions to what George gave us a minute ago. He thinks that maybe we'll finish fourth rather than third, but apart from that, his player of the season for Tottenham, like George said, is going to be Christian Romero. He made a very good point in highlighting the fact that he did come on and make a huge difference in that second game against Bayern Munich last weekend, our final pre-season game. The defence looked a lot more calm and assured. He is, of course, beloved by Tottenham fans and everybody that supports the club across the world. You know, he is just such an important player for Ange Postecoglou in the way that he can break the lines with his passing, this no-nonsense attitude, and he has developed into much more of a leader over the last 12 months as well. So yeah, really agree with what Ben said there in terms of his player of the season being Christian Romero. I actually think I fully agree with him and with George that I think it's going to be, providing that he can keep that temperament and stay fit as well. You know, he's a World Cup winner, Copa America winner. He knows how to do it, how to lead the team. I think he is going to be arguably the most important player for Tottenham this season, especially as we need to shore up that defence. So let's hope that he can have a positive campaign all the way through. Ben, I'd love to meet you in Bilbao, mate. Let's hope we can get there. And yeah, I'm sure that would be an immense occasion if Tottenham can get to Europa League final. And there is no reason why we can't. So we are 2 creators down, and we still have 2 more sets of predictions to come for you, starting with Sonny Snellen. Of course, I needn't mention it, but of course, make sure you go and check out these guys' channels. I really appreciate them taking out the time to give me their predictions for this video. Go and check their channels out, give them some love and support, and let them know if you agree with their predictions as well. Let's see what Sonny's got to say on Spurs' upcoming campaign.
What's happening, Mitch? It's Sonny Talk Spurs here. You want my Tottenham pre-season predictions. Now, I've done my own on my own channel, so go and check that out if you would like as well. But your categories, where do you think Spurs will finish in the Premier League? I think they're going to finish 4th. I think we've got enough this season with the signings we've brought in, and hopefully a few more to come as well before the end of the window, that can push us on to 4th place in the Premier League. We showed promise, we nearly got it last year, but we can go one step further under Ange Postecoglou. Tottenham's player of the season, I think this is easy. I think it's going to be Dominic Solanke. He's going to get the goals and have those moments that we missed out on last year. You know, we created so many chances, we just didn't have a striker to finish them. Breakout stars hard, because there's a few who I think could get this, like Archie Gray, maybe a Mikey Moore, maybe a Lucas Bergvall. But if I had to pick one of those players, I'd probably go with Archie Gray, because he's probably going to be the most consistent starter of the three. Mikey Moore will have some moments, but he's still very, very young. And Lucas Bergvall, depends what Ange's midfield is going forward this season, and which trophy do we have the best chance of winning. I think this is obvious, the Europa League. The change in format, I think we've got one of the strongest teams in the competition, and we've won it before, so we can win it again. Come on, you Spurs, let's have a strong season.
So, as has been the theme, with what George and Ben have both said, there is a lot of love and support for the likes of Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall, Mikey Moore as well, getting a mention in terms of breakout stars for Tottenham. And yeah, I think for me this season, the one to watch is going to be Lucas Bergvall. I just feel like the positivity and the energy that he's brought in pre-season, he is probably the one of the new guys that have come in and the young talents that have stood out the most for me. Archie Gray alongside him has been composed. We haven't necessarily seen him in his preferred positions as much as we might like to yet, but there will definitely be more to come from him as well. But Lucas Bergvall looks energetic. He looks like he can compete straight away at that top level. 18 years old, coming over from Sweden and fitting straight into a top 6 Premier League side is no easy feat. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him getting starts very early on for Tottenham under Ange, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he does start that game against Leicester. I'm not saying that he's going to, but if he was named in the starting 11, I wouldn't sit there and think, oh God, that's a bit of a strange decision, because he's been so impressive in pre-season and he looks the part. So let's hope that he can kick on. And yeah, I fully am on board with the idea that Lucas Bergvall can be our breakout star this season. So lastly, but very much not least, is Hollie Agombar, of course, giving us her predictions for Tottenham over the next 12 months or so. Let's see what she's come up with.
Hello, yes, it's me, Hollie from Hollie's Hot Spurs. Thank you, Mitch, for asking me to answer these couple of questions about Tottenham next season. The first one, where do I think Spurs will finish? I think we're going to do progressively better than last season. Obviously, I always want us to do better than the season before. I reckon this year we'll get top 4 spot, purely because, again, it'll be better than last year. I think with kind of the reinforcements we've got with the younger players in the team, the fact that we can spread them out across in Europe and obviously the cup competitions, I think our senior players, so to speak, will be a bit more rested and they'll be able to push on a little bit more in the Premier League. Who do I think is going to be Tottenham's player of the season? Easy for me, Daddy Longlegs, aka Mickey van der Ven. I don't know what more I can say about the man. He's just pure class, and he is amazing at the back. And I think he's going to go on to have another great season with us next year. Breakout star is probably cheating a little bit. I class Breakout as someone new to the team, so I'm going to go Archie Gray. We've seen him pre-season, he can pretty much play everywhere at the back and in midfield. I think he's going to be an absolute monster for us next season, especially with all the competitions we've got and the versatility that he kind of has and possesses with his style of football. I think we've got a real gem on our hands. I hope that he can show that coming into next season. Which trophy are we winning? Hopefully one of them out of the possible ones we have. Obviously, we were all a bit ticked off going out of the cup last season to Fulham. I'm hoping Ange has kind of learnt his lesson. I know previously I said about rotating the team. That's got to be done with some sort of balance, I think. The easiest one for us to win, maybe Europa. Maybe that's me just wanting a European Cup. But I think we've seen that the FA Cup can be difficult. The League Cup can be difficult. I'd like us to go and win the Europa. So maybe I've answered that a bit wrong in terms of which one do I think we're going to win or which one do I want us to win. Obviously, the FA Cup is obviously a gem. It's Football League history, so to speak, in the country. But I don't know. I'm feeling Europa. Let's go for that one. But thanks again, Mitch, for asking me. Hopefully they were all right answers. But yeah,
a great set of predictions there from Hollie, and I think she, like every other Spurs fan, is thinking with her heart when it comes to talking about the trophies we have the best chance of winning and want to win. I think the common theme for everybody that has spoken in this video has been the Europa League is the one to target and the one that we perhaps have the best chance of winning. We know that the Carabao Cup and FA Cup are notoriously hard to win because of the teams that we can potentially face. You're always going to face a top 4 team en route to the final or in the final. You know, we've seen it when we've been in the most recent Carabao Cup final, which I think was in 2021 or 2022 under Jose Mourinho, or when Jose Mourinho got sacked, and we lost to Manchester City there. Europa League, there will be some tough teams in there, but I do think that Tottenham will be stood up as one of the favourites to win the competition alongside Manchester United. But, you know, if we can get to Bilbao and get to that final, I will be selling anything in my possession to try and get a ticket out there, because I am so desperate, like the rest of us, to see us win a trophy, and let's hope we can do it. Even if it's not Europa League, I would be so happy to see us win anything and just have a couple of decent cup runs this season. So there we have it. Those are our Tottenham predictions for the 2024-25 season. Ange Postecoglou's second season in charge. I think we are all very hopeful that we can push on in terms of our league form. Though we still need to do work in the transfer market, we have a lot of breakout players that should hopefully impress for us. You know, we mentioned Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, Mikey Moore, and then you can always take your pick for player of the season. Let's just hope that all of the big boys can stay fit and help guide us towards an impressive season. And if at the end of it we manage to get into the Carabao Cup final or the FA Cup final or the Europa League final, you know, I will be praying on everything that we can just get one over the line. And I really, really do think that this is going to be the season that we can do it. Let's hope that we can continue strengthening before the transfer window closes to give us the best chance at winning that elusive piece of silverware. 2008, guys, don't forget, 2008, 16 years since we last won something. So yeah, we got to keep the hope. We have to be positive. I know that things haven't necessarily been as fast-paced and amazing as we will have hoped for during the summer, but you have to go into these new seasons positive, make your bold predictions. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them, and let's hope that Ange can finally deliver what the likes of Conte, Mourinho, Pochettino could never really do. Thank you so much for watching the video. As usual, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like if you enjoyed. I am running an FPL league this season, so don't forget to join that. We'll put the details in the description alongside the other guys that contributed to this video. I will put links to all of their channels in the description. Make sure you go and check them out and show them some love. As I've mentioned, I really appreciate them taking the time out to give me their predictions. For now, that's it from me. We are just days away from the Leicester game, and I'm so excited for Premier League football to be back. Let's hope that we can get off on the right foot with a win. Enjoy the rest of your week, and as usual, come on you Spurs.